نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أما بعد. Then we begin by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for allowing us to reach this blessed month. And we ask Him to make us sincere and to make us of those who follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in our recitation of the Quran, in our fasting, in our standing in prayer, and in any other good actions that we may perform, and that He accept them from us and from the rest of the Muslims. We begin this humble effort, this humble study of the Quran, and we are studying in this section Surah as-Sajdah. Surah as-Sajdah, which has 30 ayat. 30 ayat, so therefore we can take one ayat a day, no matter how short or long. We're going to take one ayat a day and study that. And how are we going to study it? We're going to study it by first reading it and then going through its translation and its meanings word for word. And then we're going to talk about the grammatical analysis of it. And then we're going to discuss the meanings of it. And as a side note, for those who may want to memorize this surah, then as a habit for memorization or a memorization method, then what we recommend is that you listen to the ayat that you're going to memorize and listen to them 3 times from a qualified reciter. Someone who is slow and clear and pronounces the letters properly. And then once you have heard it 3 times, to go through the meanings and understand what you're going to memorize. After that, you should take that portion that you're going to memorize and you should recite it 3 times in a row without any mistake. If you make a mistake in the first or the second or the third time, then you start over until you can recite it 3 times without mistakes. Do so in your voice recorder, play it back, make sure. If you find a mistake, do it again, or do it to someone who is qualified to listen to your recitation and can correct you. Once you have done it 3 times without any mistakes, then you recite that ayat 50 times. If you make a mistake, you don't count that time. You don't have to start over. You recite 17 times. On the 18th time you make a mistake, no problem. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Qasim is a good Salafi Quran reciter. Yes. Although I would say his recitation isn't as clear as others. My favorite are Husari. After Husari, I like al-Hudayfi. After Hudayfi, I personally like, this is my personal, after Hudayfi, I like Abdul Rashid al-Sufi. They're all clear and they pronounce the Quran properly. Muhammad Ayub is nice, but he kind of rushes through it. Sheikh Abdul Muhsin al-Qasim likewise sometimes rushes through a little bit. So if you want something, you want to take it very slow, listen to it. And if you start out rushing out, you're going to get even faster. You saw Husari raising his hands to a grave. Allahu Alam, I don't know. Allah Musta'an. I've never heard anyone from the Mashayikh say don't listen to his recitation. Maybe if you have someone saying that, then we can get rid of that. But is anyone from the Mashayikh ever said, don't listen to his recitation, he's a mushrik or a mubtadi'? I've never heard this. If you can share that with us, if you have it. If not, then that's enough for you to stay away. Fine. Anyhow, listen to a clear reciter with a proper pronunciation, and then, as we said, recite the ayah 3 times in a row without any mistakes. And then once you do that, then recite the ayah 50 times. Once you go to tomorrow, the next day, the next set of what you're going to memorize, then you should start with repeating what you did yesterday 5 times without mistakes. Not necessarily in a row, you can make mistakes, but 5 times without mistakes, and then start your new portion and continue likewise. Now here we are in Surah as-Sajdah. And our process of doing this is that we're going to, number 1, we're going to go over the meanings of the ayah. And we're going to do 1 ayah a day, no matter how long or how short. Right? 1 ayah a day in 30 days in Ramadan. Inshallah ta'ala, we can complete the Quran. If Ramadan ends up being 29 days, I'll do it on the Eid day as well. No problem, inshallah. We want to finish this. So we're first going to go over the meanings. Then we're going to go over the i'rab of it. And then we're going to go the grammatical structure. Then we're going to go over the tafsir of it. So today is very easy, as we can see. Surah as-Sajdah. It starts out, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alif Lam Mim. What do these letters mean? We won't really know that until we get to the tafsir portion. They do not have a translation for us to go over. Rather, they are 3 letters from the Arabic alphabet. Alif, Lam, Mim. Right? As well as, since they don't have a meaning, and the scholars who try to apply a meaning to these ayat, they come up with different i'rab of them. I read at least four different i'rab of these ayat, and then I saw of this ayat of these letters, and I saw someone say after that in order to know the i'rab of something, you have to have a meaning for it. So it really makes no sense for us to apply the i'rab here. So what we're going to go is jump straight in today to the tafsir of this ayah. And that has some preliminary stuff related to the surah as a whole. So this surah has 2 different names that we know. Surah as-Sajdah and Surah Alif Lam Mim Tanzil. Surah Alif Lam Mim Tanzil. So Surah as-Sajdah and Surah Alif Lam Mim Tanzil. And some people say Alif Lam Mim Tanzil as-Sajdah. So these are the names. As for, is it Mecca or Madani? Then we can see here it is Mecca. It was revealed in Mecca. From the goals of this surah, the maqasid of this surah, is firstly, it wants to clarify the greatness of Allah the Most High in His attributes and the perfect power that He has, as well as tell us about the resurrection and the recompense. It also wants to bring our attention to the greatness of the Quran, because it gathers all of the guidance inside of it. As for the fada'il of this surah, the virtues of this surah, then it is recommended to recite this surah in Salatul Subh, Salatul Fajr on the day of Jummah. And this is due to the hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, which is in al-Bukhari and Muslim. So the Imam, it is recommended for him, not wajib, doesn't have to be every week, but it is recommended for the Imam to recite this surah in Salatul Subh, Salatul Fajr on the day of Jummah. This surah is going to discuss, as we're going to see, it's going to talk about and mention the singling out of Allah Azza wa Jal with creation of the heavens and the earth, that He alone created the heavens and the earth. It also is going to display for us some of the doubts of the mushrikeen regarding the resurrection, along with their refutation, the refutation of those doubts. It's going to display for us a display from the displays of, or it's going to display for us a scene from the scenes of the Day of Judgment. The time when the people who do wrong, the criminals and those who do wrong, will be standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. And it will describe some of the attributes of the believers, and it will call the disbelievers to reflect upon themselves and upon the book of Allah. And it commanded the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to turn away from the mushrikeen, and it promised him a victory over them. Likewise, that promise leads to us, the believers, afterwards, that we should turn away from the mushrikeen and that we as well will have a victory over them. The tafsir for this is very simple. Allah Azza wa Jal opens this surah. He opens or begins this surah with huruf al-muqata'a. Some huruf al-muqata'a, meaning some letters from the Arabic alphabet. Some letters from the Arabic alphabet. And this is done to show the miraculousness of the Quran. Because Allah Azza wa Jal is telling the kuffar that I used the same letters that you use to make your sentences, your words, your poetry. You can use them as well if you think that this is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And bring something like it. Use these same letters that you use all the time, that I'm showing you here, to bring something like this book. Right? This book is made up of these letters, and your poetry and your speech is made up of these same letters. So bring something similar to it along with it if you claim that this is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the meaning of Alif Lam Mim. This is the tafsir of it. That we don't know the exact meaning of it, but we do know that in all of the places in the Quran where these huruf al-muqata'a are mentioned, these disconnected letters, they're not in words actually. Alif Lam Mim, Alif Lam Ra, Kaf Ha Ya Ain Sad, all of this, whenever these letters appear, Ha Mim, Taha, whenever these letters appear, in every time except two, Allah mentions the Quran right afterwards and the greatness of its revelation. Tanzilul Kitab La Rayba Fi Min Rabbil Alameen. The sending down of the book, and no doubt in it. There's no doubt in it from the Lord of all of creation. And likewise, all of the other places except two, Allah again brings up the Quran and its magnificence. If there's any questions, then we will try to answer them. If not, then we will come back tomorrow. Our schedule is 9 p.m. Mecca time for Surah Al-Fajr, 9:20 p.m. for Surah Al-Mulk, and 9:40 p.m. for Surah as-Sajdah. I'm going to stop the recordings in between so that they can be individually uploaded. And if someone only wants to follow Surah Al-Fajr, they can without the rest of the surahs included. Likewise, Surah Al-Mulk and Surah as-Sajdah. Are there any other questions about this? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us and give us barakah in our time during this month. Cause us to busy ourselves with what is beneficial and to keep away from us what is not beneficial. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.